evening. This is Dr. Vandana, heading Civil Engineering Department, KCG College of Technology. Am I audible? Did I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. Yes. So, on behalf of the Department of Civil Engineering and KCG College of Technology, I extend my warm welcome to the resource person of today's webinar, Mr. C. Soundararajan, who is a certified energy auditor, and I welcome Mr. Praveen, who is an energy asset manager from UVK Engineering Private Limited, Chennai. Welcome, sir. I
Thank
extend
you.
my yeah, I extend my welcome to all my student participants. And here I would like to include one point. For today's webinar, we have participants from almost all the domains, I would say. We have students from EEE department, ECE department, and even from computer science, mechanical, and IT students are here with us in order to participate in this webinar. So this webinar topic, energy and water conservation through IoT in hotels and industries, is the webinar topic for today's talk. And this topic is very close to my heart, I would say. My colleagues will be admiring, not because just because of being an environmentalist, I say this. This topic, energy auditing, was my postgraduate project. And hope everybody is aware about Anna University College of Engineering, Guindy. We have almost 40 to 50 centers and divisions and branches under Anna University College of Engineering, Guindy. And I did my post-graduation in Center for Environmental Studies, Anna University. I got my graduation in 2004. Okay, that is not needed for us. And my PG project was energy auditing for Center for Environmental Studies. You may be wondering why now Civil HOD is talking about her past story and all. I'll come to that point. And I was guided by my all-time philosopher and guide and supervisor. My all in all, I would say, Dr. R. Nagendran. Till today, he is everything to me. And he explained me the concepts of energy auditing and environmental auditing. In fact, my professor wanted me to become an auditor, environmental auditor. But finally, I ended up in, since I had teaching as my passion, I ended up in teaching. Anyway, he's happy that I'm a HOD in KCG right now. Okay, so now during my project, we were able to, we in the sense myself and my supervisor, were able to conserve few thousands or lakhs of rupees for Anna University, I would say, because by conducting this energy audit for Center for Environmental Studies, we were able to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions. Okay, I repeat, about 34,000 kg of carbon dioxide emissions were reduced annually by implementing the energy conservation measures suggested by us by conducting the energy audit for CES in Anna University in the year 2003. Okay, so now you can imagine there are n number of centers and divisions. So how much money and how many kg of or tons of CO2 emissions can be reduced by incorporating this energy audit in an institution like Anna University. Similarly, I would like to add this point. Our KCG students also have done energy auditing and water auditing for KCG campus. And so by doing this, I wanted all the students from all domains, I would say, and not only as an engineer, also as a human or responsible citizen of Mother Earth, it is our responsibility to conserve energy, to conserve water for the sake of future generations. If at all there is a third war, everybody is aware it is for water. So you will understand the, importance and significance of using water. So this kind of energy audit can be conducted for leather industries, for textile units, even for educational institutions. Okay, and then you can even do this energy audit for food industry, even for tennis stadium or for aquatic complexes, or for commercial establishments like Phoenix Malls or even for theater complexes. Okay, so please be aware of the energy audit tools because 10, 15 years before I have done this energy and water conservation manually and by adopting whatever suggested in the literature. Whereas now we have resource persons from UVK where they'll be throwing light on this energy and water conservation, how we can do it through Internet of Things. There only we have all our software professionals and other disciplined people because in order to suggest energy conservation measure for an air conditioning unit, you need some electrical background and mechanical background. Okay, so it is a multidisciplinary topic and I request all the participants to share your views and if at all if you have any queries after the session, you can post it in the chat box. And I request each one to get the maximum benefit out of this webinar talk. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Frida will be introducing, I guess. Frida, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So, good evening, all. It is indeed a great pleasure to welcome and introduce our esteemed speakers for today's session, Mr. C. Soundararajan, Energy Asset Manager, and Mr. K. Praveen, Energy Asset Manager of UVKS Engineering Private Limited. UVKS Engineering Private Limited was incorporated in the year 2000, which is one of India's leading ESCO companies in the highly specialized field of energy efficiency. They provide customized solution from concept to the completion with a strong in-house team of seasoned professionals. UVKS is engaged in energy efficiency consultancy and implementation solutions to various industries such as hotels, hospitals, process plants, colleges, utility buildings, etc. To name a few, UVKS has carried out assignments for World Bank, Asian Development Bank, ITC Group, Taj Group, ACC, Amul, Four Seasons, Murugappa Group, Mother Dairy in both India and abroad. Their core services are offered in energy consultancy, water audits, electrical safety audits, rainwater harvesting, waste to wealth solutions, ISO International Management Standard Assessment and Documentation, green building consulting and certification, and many more. And currently they are now providing IoT-based total energy management solutions to improve operational efficiency and conservation of energy as well. I now invite the speakers to enrich us with knowledge on energy and water conservation through Internet of Things. We welcome you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Vandana and Frida, madam. So, and good evening to all. So, thank you for giving the opportunity to do the presentation to KCG College of Technology and introducing here. And it is very interesting to hear you and your experience. So that shared from and your students' experience also. And you are in the energy passion for the energy conservation. So it's very interesting. We'll go to the presentation structure. And there's a energy scenario in India. What we are going to discuss, that is one. Next is a need for energy conservation. Why it's a necessity for energy conservation? Energy conservation avenues. So what is the potential that we are going to discuss? And introduction to IoT solution, Internet of Things. How Internet of Things is a solution of energy conservation. And we are going to see the case studies, what we have done in currently that we have achieved in the client side, that we are going to discuss, and what are the job opportunities from by basis of this energy conservations. So energy conservation scenario, if you see in India, total 370.5 gigawatt, that's the total installed capacity. In that, there's various source of energy is generated from coal, renewable energy, gas, diesel, hydro, and nuclear. So that major now in India. So most of the in India, we are recommended to go for the green energy like renewable energy and things like that. So India is pledged to 33 to 35% reduction in emission of intensity by 2020. So this, if you see here, earlier the coal, so this oil and coal is higher. Now they're going for the wind and hydro. So this is a major target in the 2020. So that's what is projected. And summary of energy scenario in India. So India is the world's third largest emitter in greenhouse gases. India pledged, as I told, 33 to 35% reduction in emission intensity by 2020. And electricity use in recent decades has been fueled largely by coal. And because the coal is the major energy power generation sector in India, so that's a major largely they use, and quickly expanding its renewable power, particularly solar, because nowadays their government encouraging in industry and building, commercial building, so to go with the solar because it's renewable energy, green energy. So need for energy conservation. So the carbon emission in India, if you see the F gases, that is and NO2, that is 270 metric ton, and methane is 815 metric ton. So these are all the emission factors is in that. So in this, to considering this, so if you see the average temperature around the world will be increased by 4 to 12% by year 20. To one second. So if you see that is a 12 Fahrenheit, it's almost 5 to 6 degree will be increased due to this emission. So will. So this is the global warming potential impact on this earth. So we are going to the clearly warming watch sign. So the earth has warmed up. There has been a warming up to 0.6 degrees Celsius in the last 100 years. So the warning signals include heat waves, sea level rising, glaciers melting, coastal flooding, and that is a coastal erosion, and Arctic and Antarctic warming. So these are all impacts on global warming potential. So this is the energy flow from source to user end, how the energy is generated from source side, and user end, what will be the utilization. So we will see, if you see 100, that is 100 units of power is generated from the coal power plant, that's the primary energy. So the total power plant loss is 60%. Any, if you see the in national power plants, NTPC and all thermal power plants, and your I think the loss will be 60%. The only 40% will be the energy we are recovering. That is transferred to the your electricity transmission line. The T&D loss will be 15% in this transmission line. So after the losses, so that our low voltage electricity will be 34 unit we are recovering on the lower side. So once if you see the conventional lamps like equipments and all, the losses will be, so there only 95% will be, only 5% we are utilizing on the source energy supplied. So it is only 2 units we are using. So this is mainly why we are saying, so if end use conservation, it is a 50 times equal to the source in generation. So if you're going to save 1 unit, another 50 units, you're going to save that thing, point we are explaining here. And summary of need for energy conservation. So is effective use in finite sources, reduce greenhouse gas emission, reduce the demand for installed capacity, reduce sustainability. Here, reduce demand in installed capacity. If you see, so if you have the, if you have, for example, I'm saying if you have the resident, so your total load is about 4 kilowatt. So if you're going to do the first energy conservation measures, so if we can bring it to 2.5 kilowatt, so your solar capacity will come down. So your unnecessarily your investment cost also will come down. So also you are going to do benefit on the reducing the carbon footprint on the your environment. So next, energy conservation avenues. So the energy intensive equipment in hotels and industries, it's boilers, furnace, HVACs, that is the heating, ventilation, air conditioning, motor compressors, fans and blowers, cooling towers, lightings, refrigerators, and energy conservation opportunity in boilers. If you see, there are a number of Praveen will take over this session. So he's going to introduce the IoT with what is the energy conservation measures that he is going to explain those things. Also, this is the energy conservation opportunities in air compressors. And next, energy conservation opportunities in pumps and pumping systems. Next, energy conservation opportunities in HVAC. So these are all, we will share it to you, this presentation. Typical energy saving opportunities we'll discuss. So what is lighting and air conditioners and refrigerator. So purchase star rated products. So like by now the BEE, that's the government of India, they released 5-star rated lamps like LED lamps and other LED tube lights like that. They release to replace with the conventional lamps. So next, if you see the turn off lights when not in use. So whenever it's not in use, you can turn off by putting some automation like occupancy sensor kind of thing, and replace incandescent lamps and fluorescent tube lamps with the LED lamps. So this is another conventional lamps with the energy efficient LED lamps replacement. Use sunlight to avoid light usage in daytime. So if you see wherever the roofs like asbestos sheets or GA sheets in industry, there is a light pipe, that is a concept is available. So you can harvest the daylight instead at that time if you have any lighting operation, because in the industry it will be closed operation. So anyway they have to run the lightings. So in that area they can introduce this daylight sensor, this system, so they can recover the daylight to their operational area. So next, use occupancy sensors. That this is the PIR motion sensor. So if any person occupied, that time the lamps will operate, and if anybody left from the room, automatically it will go to shut off. So this is I explained about the lighting and the air conditioner also similarly, and refrigerator also it is given here. So I will share this presentation to you. And typical constraints affected by the industrial and commercial sectors. So what are the constraints? The energy insufficient for some end users. So lack of knowledge on utilization quantum, lack of knowledge in savings potential, restriction on budgetary and capital investment. So not availing the service of good energy consultant, lack of initiatives from top management. These are all the constraints from the industrial, what we have experienced from the industrial and commercial sectors. So need for water conservation. So if you see 150 gram of pizza, that it requires 1100 liters of water is required to prepare that pizza up to the plate. And next, if you see 1 kg of rice, it takes 2400 liters of water is required to get our plate. And if you see for 1 cotton shirt, it will take 2600 liters of water is required. So and for G, it is 6800 liters of water is required. And for the chocolate, it is 1700 liters of water that is required for 1 kg of chocolate. And 1 ton of steel, it's required 235,000 liters of water. So the water is a major massive energy usage in water usage in the sectors. So we need to save the water by, if you save the user end products, so you can save the water directly. So only 3% of water is available in our world. So that is a balance. You can't use that one. Next, water conservation avenues. So use dual flushes valves. So instead of a single flush in any toiletries, you can use dual flushes. So next, install restrictive aerators. So flow control aerators. So it will reduce the water flow and it give water savings. Install a water treatment system. So by treating the effluent or your STP sewage dirty, this one, so you can use it for other flushing purpose. Use treated water for flushing, like that is a STP treated water. and avoid water leakages, any water, because in industry there are a lot of water leakages will be there. So we identified those things. Establish water benchmarking. So if you have the benchmarking only, they can able to control the water. So otherwise the people they can use, because every hotel or industry they have a benchmarking. So by they will fix that benchmark, uh, they will control within that one. So otherwise they will cross over the limit every month or daily. And next, install water sub-metering system. If you have better monitoring metering system, then only you can able to track the consumption, whether where we are losing any abnormal consumption is there, we can able to easily identify by with the meter system. Replace high flow water closets with flush walls with low flow rates. These are all the energy conservation measures. Typical constraints expect from water conservation. So this is one of the lack of data on consumption pattern. So if they don't have any metering or monitoring system, so it will be another constraint. And pressure tracking in the pipeline. So if they have the higher pressure, so they, because it has to be optimized operation based on the user and requirement. If it is a higher pressure, so another water loss will be there. And lack of water leakage in water leakage and tracking. So if any leakage is there, maybe they notice that they are not noticed, then it will be unnecessary wastage. Water quality monitoring also. If the quality is not good, so they will, the treatment system has to be run continuously. So their water loss will be there. WTP, STP, and ETP efficiency management. So if the efficiency is lower, the production also will be reduced. These are all the constraints for expert from the water conservations. If you can't measure it, so what will happen? You can't control it. So that's the thing. So you need to measure the supply from source end to user end. So to quantify the monetary loss and effects, quantify the excess raw material consumption, quantify the redundant electricity consumption. So it's for energy and water. So both sectors will be applicable. So need for integrated solution. So it's integrated solution is reduce the manual intervention and to facilitate demand-based operations. Automate the process to improve the operational efficiency. So based on the equipment operation, any energy and water should be operated accordingly. So to ensure the personal safety, so personal safety also will be taken care by integrating the solutions. Locate the source of problems. So it has to identify the problems where it is created. To mitigate the misuse of energy resources. So generate alert on system deviations, alert generation of reports, auto generation of the reports. My colleague, Mr. Praveen, will take the next session. So he is the energy asset manager, member of SEAM on the Society of Energy Assessment, Energy Engineers and Managers. Next, member of SHRE, and another is a Bachelor of Energy and Environment Engineering. And he successfully completed 67 energy audits in India and overseas. And he has 3 years experience in the energy and industrial energy sectors. So let Praveen, you take over the sessions.
Thanks, Mr. Sounder. Thanks, Mr. Sounder. Can you kindly allow me to share my screen?
Yeah.
Thanks. Good evening, one and all. Thanks, Mr. Sounder, for giving a brief intro about energy scenario and need for energy conservation and some of the avenues in energy saving measures. Thank you. Am I audible? My voice is clear, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can proceed.
So let me take you through an introduction to Internet of Things. So what is Internet of Things? So Internet of Things, it interconnects the devices, people, data, and processes and allow them to communicate with each other. It is basically two devices, a sensor and an equipment. And the IoT allows them to interconnect with each other and allows them to communicate with each other. So these devices, it may be a sensors, a pressure sensors, or energy meters, which are connected in the instruments or equipment, which may be an AC or a boiler, any devices. And from these devices, using some communication protocols, which is a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or your cell phone, SIM cards, from these communication protocols, these data are sent to the cloud, a data storage facility, either in a cloud or in a local PC. From there, using a pre-programmed algorithms or using artificial intelligence, actionable feedback will be given to these devices. It will make the artificial intelligence or the programs will make the equipment on or off, or maybe it will give a threshold limit based on an alarm will be given. So like that, it will give feedback to these devices. Based on this feedback, the user, which is an engineer, also control these devices. So as I mentioned, it is a cloud-based AI-involved dynamic solution for any industry or hotel or any commercial buildings. Using this IoT, we can collect the data, visualize it, monitor it, and we can control the total system, and we can produce some alerts, reports, recommendations, and whatnot. It is a totally a customized solution. Using this IoT, it's a customized solution. We can do whatever which is required for us. So using this, what is the major pain points? There is, we can avoid the overloading. This is a major drawback in every energy consuming areas. So we can avoid the overcooling, overheating, overpressuring, and timing. There is a number of things here. And we can avoid manual interventions, redundant and inappropriate operations. What are the smart ideas we can do with the IoT thing? Is we can correlate energy conservation. We can operate, the operations can be based on automatic set point, demand-based production. So the alerts will be given. The manual intervention will be reduced using this IoT. Now, let me take you through how IoT is a solution to energy conservation. If you see, in everything concerning energy and water can be controlled in a fingertip through IoT. I'm not exaggerating, students. It's true. Anytime, anywhere, any authorized person can control an equipment somewhere, remotely using this IoT. So this is, for example, this is a typical hotel. In this hotel, there are different areas: energy, electricity, lighting, kitchens, laundry, locker rooms, reservoirs, WTP, STP, water. So in these different arenas, sensors will be connected. From these sensors, the data will be going to the cloud. From the data, using artificial intelligence or pre-programmed algorithms, we can get in the dashboards and data analytics. We can get the data. So what is the data exactly the instruments is using? And the command center also. Command center is for a group of 10 industries. A single man can control the 10 industries. And the data which also can be provided in a mobile app. So next is individual systems. For example, let me give a basic idea of boiler. Before getting into this, what is a boiler? It is a steam producing unit which can be used for a power production, or either in a hotel industry, it can be used for a laundry or hot water generation, anything. So this is a boiler. In this boiler, there are different auxiliaries will be there, which may be a blower will be there for air supply, a pump will be there. So everything can be put together using this IoT sensors. For example, it may be a steam flow meter, water flow meter, pressure sensors, temperature sensors, O2 sensors, energy meters. So in a single system, everything can be collectively the data can be collectively taken and it will be sent to the IoT. So using this, we can continuously monitor that system. So 24/7, a system can be continuously monitored. So based on this, the energy consumption can be arrived versus the variables. So for example, how much steam consumed per ton of steel. If we producing a steel, for example, if we are using a steam for the production of steel, we can correlate the thing. Based on that, we can do the benchmarking. So this is the world scenario. And where am I? We can compare that. And online boiler efficiency, we can monitor the boiler efficiency in online. So next comes the HVAC system. This is one of the major system in commercial buildings. HVAC is nothing but heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Air conditioning is a major part in any hotel or any malls. For example, Phoenix Mall, Forum Mall, every commercial building will have this HVAC system. It is a chiller. Chiller is nothing but it is kind of AC in a large, in a huge AC. So it will have some other auxiliaries like cooling towers, pumps, VFDs, and AHUs and TFAs. So everything can be, all the data can be collected using this IoT, and we can continuously monitor the data. These points are similar actually. For every system, you can continuously monitor the data. The consumption can be linked, correlated with the variables, and we can do benchmarking. And for example, specifically for this system, we can schedule each and every ACs in an hotel or a commercial building. So we can analyze the performances of a chiller and auxiliaries. So next comes the water. So IoT in water section. So benefits of IoT in water management. So what are the benefits of IoT in water management? If you see water pressure monitoring, we can monitor the pressure of water in the top floor of a building. Sometimes the top floor of any commercial building will not get sufficient water. We can monitor the pressure of that in that building, and pump on-off control can be done. Water quality testing and analysis. This is a major thing in any industries and commercial buildings. For example, if you take a food industry or a dairy industry, water quality is it's must. They have to maintain certain qualities of water for food preparation and food products preparation. So it can be done using IoT. And water consumption monitoring. Yes, we know every drop is very important in this era. So we can monitor the consumption of water. Then tanker water management. If you see in Chennai, tanker water is the major thing for commercial buildings. We can monitor that tanker water consumption. So all these things put together, it will be reflected in your bill, the reduced billing, and up to 10% of reduction in water consumption per capita. It's huge. So IoT is for better profits, not at the expense of a service, safety, quality, employee morale. So IoT, the objective of IoT is the improve profits through energy cost reduction by smart operation. IoT is not going to affect any service or safety. Without affecting it, how we can improve our energy consumption? That's what we are looking in IoT. So if you see, it's a 360-degree approach. I already mentioned about the data collection and data analysis part and the integrated solution in the previous slides. So we can collect the data and we can analyze the data. The next part is the implementation. So the process could not stop in the second step itself. So once we monitor the data, we can suggest some energy saving measures. Then we can implement the energy saving measures. It can be any retrofits or replacement. For example, if you see any pumps, if the pump is not efficient, we can change the pump. So like that, any retrofits and replacement schemes can be implemented. So then we can measure. Next step is the measurement and verification. Once it is implemented, we have to measure and verify. We have to, using this IoT, we can literally see the savings in front of us. We have saved 20 kilowatt or 30 kilowatt. We can see that savings. The next step is sustaining the savings. To how long we are achieving that savings? Maybe for 1 year or 2 years, we don't know. So here comes the IoT, which helps you to sustain the savings. It continuously monitor the consumption of any equipment 24/7, and we can run the cycle if the consumption goes high. If the consumption goes high again, we can again, based on the data which we have collected, we can analyze and give another solution to that facility. It may be any hotels or commercial buildings or any industry. So some UV case studies in IoT hotels and industries. If you see, this is a typical study which has been conducted in Chennai and Hyderabad and Mumbai. I'll take you through one building. For example, building 1, it's in Chennai. The annual energy bill is 746 lakh, almost 746 lakhs. Then annual energy savings in HVAC, it is 32 lakhs. And then kitchen and boiler and another monitoring and controlling of utility operations. Total put together, we can get a savings of 42 lakhs, which is about 6% of the total energy bill. The investment for this is 1 crore. It can be paid in EMIs, not at the upfront of 1 crore. This can be paid by the hotels or industries in an EMI process. For example, monthly 50,000. So investing a 1 crore in some project, it is very difficult for anybody. So hence UVKS is offering an OPEX model. So the ROI for this is about 40%. Similarly, if you see another industry and building, the total savings is around 5 to 6% of the total energy consumption. And the ROI coming is about 50%. So thanks, students. Next comes job opportunities for your insight. I'm taking you through some job opportunities in the field of energy management. See, it can be any in the field of operations or maintenance, as maintenance and service engineers, and as consultancy, energy auditors, like what we are now, energy auditors and energy efficiency implementation engineers. You can audit some facility and give solutions to that facility. And in project management team, as energy facility management and project managers, and data analytics, which is one of the emerging field in this era. So next, as in the manufacturing sector, as manufacturing engineers and design engineers. And some other fields like teaching at faculty at colleges and research colleges, and marketing field and accounts as internal auditor and financial analyst for a group. I want to explain some credentials about a snapshot of UVKS. So we have been over 3 decades of experience providing sustainability to various industries, industry and hotel clientele. And we have over 300 million square feet of energy and water audits. We have completed that. And almost 500 luxury hotels for energy and water efficiency improvements. We have worked along with 500 hotels across the globe. So we do suggest some energy saving schemes, and we relate the fee to the actual savings. So what the savings are achievable, we'll get paid from that. So UVKS is associated with almost every major luxury group of hotel. So it includes, our client includes Taj, Oberoi, Trident, Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott. These are the hotel sectors, and some other industrial sectors like United Breweries, Hindustan Unilever Limited, ITC, paper and food, Coca-Cola, Hyundai, Toyota. So I'll give a quick recap of what we have seen so far in this 45 minutes. So energy scenario and need for energy and water conservation. So first we have seen this. And next, what are some energy saving avenues and challenges in different equipments in the form of energy as well as water. So how IoT is a solution for all energy and water conservation in industrial and commercial buildings, which we have seen, and various opportunities for young professionals like you. And I thank you, KCC College of Technology, Ms. Dr. Vandana ma'am and Dr. Freda ma'am. Thank you very much for giving UVKS this golden opportunity to present to your students. We are so happy, and once again a hearty thanks from you. And students, if you have any doubt, kindly you can ask us or in the chat we can ready to answer your questions.
Any queries? The participants can post your questions in the chat box. And there is one question which is related to the DRAB. The main objective of IoT is already explained by you. They also want to know the disadvantages of using this IoT, sir.
Yeah. So in the disadvantage means here it's nothing is the one is the compatibility, because if you see in industries and when you're going to the industry particular to the some equipment, that because if you're going to touch the equipment, the OEM will not approve those things. So we can't pull the data from the equipment. This is another compatibility issues we faced in industries. So it's another drawback. And also the complexity in design and developing those solutions. If they require some tailor-made solutions. So there is another design and developing complexity is there. Another is cost, because if you're going to put, because earlier the same IoT concept, it's not IoT actually. BMS, there's the building management system. That is a concept they introduced in industry and hotels. So now this is totally phased out, and IoT is a new concept, so everywhere they following. So it is a fully wireless technology, and it is a cloud-based operations. So the operational wise, the cost will be higher compared to them, but initial cost will be lower, but operational cost will be compared to BMS. This will be every month the subscription charges is there. That is a drawback. Other than that, nothing is there.
Thank you, sir. Any other queries? So there's one more question. Ms. Aparna wants to know what type of sensors do we use, and what type of program has to be used for IoT techniques?
Yeah, there is a because the sensor has to be depends upon the user and requirements. Maybe I want to check energy meter, so energy consumption I have to put energy meters. If I want to check the temperature, I have to put the temperature sensors. There are a lot of sensors available for CO2, O2, and particulate matter, and your pressure sensors. Everything, lot of sensors are available. Based on the requirement, we can select the sensors, and the type of program using for this technique is basically it is an algorithm. So the data will be pulled to the server. So it's basically it is IoT. There's a IT department because we are totally technical. So in that we don't know what is background on this thing. But they are using ZigBee and other protocols they are using for this IoT techniques.
Thank you, sir. One more question. Are they maintaining?
Many questions, Prida. Yeah.
Yes. They just want to know if they are maintaining IGBC standards as well, sir.
If you can see, but current recently during this the COVID pandemic situations, every hotel they use that is a ISRE has given the guidelines to maintain the standards in hotels, they have to maintain the temperature from 24 to 30 degrees Celsius, and they have to maintain the indoor air quality. So also same it will be because if you see the IGBC and LEED certification, IGBC. So if you're going to see the, for example, the glass facades. So if the light level is optimal, so that IoT sensors can automatically control the lighting based on their requirements. So it will be maintain the standards, because without compromising on the quality, that is a conservation also that will help to user it will maintain.
I just want to add one more point regarding this actually. So IoT is a device which collects the data and monitors the data, and we can set programs like that. So for example, if a standard is X value or Y value, we can program it like that. We have to achieve that X value or Y value. If we are getting away from that standard, it will give some alerts to us. So it will give alert to the operator or the top management. So hence we can correct those if we are moving away from the standard. We can get into that, basically the alerts, and we can program like that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Participants having any other queries can mail us so that we can let the speakers clarify your doubts in future. So I would like to propose the vote of thanks. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. I start by giving the glory to the Almighty God for making this event a resound success. I thank the management for accepting our request for conducting this program. I thank our director, principal, associate dean for their unstinted support for this program. I thank our head of the department, Dr. V. Vandana Devi, for a valuable guidance and encouragement in all the efforts which were taken. Special thanks to Mr. T. Sridharan, Executive Director, UVKS Engineering Private Limited, for his continuous support in organizing this event. My heartfelt thanks to our keynote speakers of the day, Mr. C. Soundarajan and Mr. K. Pravin, for giving us this wonderful session. I would also like to mention and thank my dear colleagues who actively helped successfully transit this event. Thank you all for being with us. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much for joining with us. And the feedback link and the certificate link is posted in the chat box. I request all participants to kindly fill it before 5 p.m. Thank you. Thank you for being with us.